My name is Billy Cobb. I'm Executive Vice President at the Waterworks. And I'm actually from Columbus. Grew up, raised here. When I graduated from Jordan High School, I went off to Georgia Tech and got an engineering degree. And then came back in 1992. And so I've been with the Waterworks for over 30 years. And I remember the first project I did when I came back. It was a sewer line extension. And we pulled drawings out from the existing sewer line. The drawings were dated in the 1930s and had the engineer's name on it. And I was just amazed that something that had been done 60 years earlier was still serving people in Columbus. And it made me think to myself that if we do things right, the infrastructure that we put in, that we take care of, will serve our grandkids and our great-grandkids. And for me, it gave me my purpose. Okay, I found my purpose right there. But I will tell you, I've been in Columbus for a long time, and I've never experienced a day without water.
Your water is always there when you need it. But what if it wasn't? Safe and reliable drinking water impacts nearly everything around us.
Our entire day is based off of water. Like everything we do, we need water to do it. Like it's energy, we have to have it to survive.
It would definitely degrade the quality of life, which would really limit the things that we typically do in a normal day.
Without water, we wouldn't be here. If we didn't have water for a day, then there'd be chaos.
Because you don't really know how much you need water until you need it.
We all need water, clean water.
With proper investment and maintenance of our infrastructure, together we can prevent a day without water. Learn more at cwwga.org. Columbus Waterworks, serving our community, protecting the environment.
Imagine a day without water. Well, the people in Jackson, Mississippi are experiencing that, or have experienced that. But actually, it was probably more than a week that they experienced. And our purpose here at Columbus Waterworks is to protect our neighbors by providing essential water, fuel of life. What that really means is that we have the responsibility to make sure what happened in Jackson, Mississippi doesn't happen here in Columbus, Georgia. So what we're going to cover today is the state of CWW, how we go about maintaining quality services, our financial planning, and a proposed 4.95% rate increase, and our customer assistance programs. CWW is an award-winning utility, and you may not know it, but across our industry, we're considered one of the better utilities in the country. We're not perfect, but we're considered really good. These are just a few of the awards we've won recently. In the last year, we've actually won about 30, right at 30 awards. What factors impact our services of delivering safe, clean, and reliable water to customers and returning clean water to the river? First and foremost is our great people who are experts in their field. And then how do we maintain our infrastructure to make sure everything works well. And then one of the things that's impacting us pretty heavily now is changing regulations. And also, inflationary costs are hitting us pretty hard, just as they are everyone in here. Our dedicated staff works around the clock. 24/7, 365 days out of the year, we're working. In freezing temperatures, they're fixing water leaks. And storming rain, they're out trying to find sewer problems. If we have a river flood, it'll flood our wastewater treatment plant. But they still keep treating wastewater, even though it takes a boat to get them from building to building. Our water plant, when we see severe storms coming in, a lot of people go out and buy bottled water. But I can tell you, our operators are at the plant producing good, clean, dependable water. And usually you don't even have to drink that bottled water because you don't run out of water service. Our staff is highly technical and highly trained. And these are just a few of the individual awards that some of our staff members won. But I will tell you, we're in a battle. We're in a battle to keep the staff, just like a lot of other businesses out there. And what we do, well, I'll give you an example, is we have CDL drivers. They're the ones that drive the big trucks around, pulling trailers behind them. And Walmart is paying CDL drivers over $100,000 now to drive for them. We had one of our lead operators recently leave us. He went halfway across the country to get a 70% pay increase. So it's a battle for us. And so what we're doing is we're doing everything we can to meet the needs of our employees. And that is, we have great insurance policy, we got great retirement. But still, a lot of people look, particularly the younger people, look for the additional dollars. So we're always working on that. I will tell you, Jackson, Mississippi, one of their big issues was they didn't have enough water plant operators. This is an example of some of our infrastructure. This is a wastewater treatment plant. Basically, it takes anything that's flushed in the city, cleans it up, puts clean water back into the river. And a lot of infrastructure here. Now, we have a question that a lot of people ask is, why does sewer cost more than water on our bill? And the reason, well, I heard one wastewater, this is sort of a funny joke, but I heard one wastewater plant superintendent tell a water plant superintendent that anybody can clean up clean river water. And that's an exaggeration. It is a difficult job that everybody does. And, but I can tell you that the nature of sewage is very difficult on the infrastructure. So you end up having to do more maintenance on your sewer system than you do your water system. You also, the life expectancy of the infrastructure that's part of your sewer system doesn't last as long as the water system. One of the things we try to do to minimize the impact to our ratepayers is to maximize the life cycle of our assets. And I'll sometimes call them assets, sometimes call them infrastructure. I use them interchangeably. I just went blank. That ain't great. But I got that next year. So maybe I can remember what it is. When I think of infrastructure, I think of a car. Okay? And if you get a car, you want to make it last as long as you can. And the way you do that is you do two things. You do preventive maintenance and you do breakdown maintenance. Preventive maintenance on a car is you change the oil, you rotate the tires, you change the filters. Preventive maintenance in a utility is we check the oil, we lube mechanical equipment, we clean out basins, we clean sewer lines. On a car, breakdown maintenance, if your battery goes bad, or your alternator goes bad, or your fuel pump goes bad, go buy another one. You don't go buy a new car, you just buy those parts and you fix it. In the utility, what we do is we'll replace a pump, or we'll fix a water line leak, or we'll replace a blower. And this plant is here. You see on the screen here, we've recently replaced 3 influent pumps, 4 blowers that provide air, 2 digester covers. Interesting thing with digester covers is, remember I told you to try to maximize the useful life? We took the digester down to replace the cover and plug in clamps. So we actually maximized that to the end of the life for that particular asset. But what you see here are cracks in the concrete in these little pictures. And we got a project right now where we're injecting epoxy into the concrete to maximize the useful life of that plant. We expect it'll give us another 15 or 20 years for the plant. We're always battling aging infrastructure. And the magnitude of that is we have over 12 million feet of pipe underground. And if you line it all up, you can go from Columbus to New York and back to that pipe. And the way we maximize the life expectancy of our assets, and we do planned maintenance, planned infrastructure repairs. Every 5 years, we do a master plan. And that master plan takes into account population growth in Columbus, so it evaluates the capacity of the infrastructure. It looks at regulatory changes, and it also looks at the condition of our assets or our infrastructure. So we replace things when they need to be replaced. When we get the master plan done, we generate a capital improvement program from that, which is basically a list of projects. And our last list of projects was $190 million for a 5-year period. Well, we know we can't afford $190 million over 5 years. So we prioritize those projects. And when we prioritize the projects, the way we do that is we first look at risk, then we look at our strategic initiatives to see how the project lines up with that. And then we do what's called a triple bottom line analysis, which looks at the environmental impacts of the project, the social impacts of the project, or the economic impacts of the project. So once we get this list, it's been prioritized now, we bounce it off our rate model, which we update annually. And from that rate model, it tells us how much we can afford. And so out of the $190 million, we were able to afford $75 million. But we also look at that cut line to make sure that nothing's right below that we know we have to do. But we were able to stick with the $75 million. One other thing I want to mention while we're on this slide is about regulatory compliance. There are a lot of regulation changes going on right now in our industry. And I'll give you an example of one. Is the lead service line program. Most of you know about Flint, Michigan, where they had lead service lines, and it affected the people in the community. And we knew that the EPA was going to change their rules because of that. But in Columbus, we've never seen a lead service line. Any place we've dug, never ran into it. Any paperwork we've looked at, never had it. And so we were pretty sure it wasn't going to hit us very hard. But then the EPA made the rule that you had to prove that you didn't have lead service lines. Now, some of that's easy, some of it's a paperwork issue. You had rules in place to say you couldn't install, you had what materials you could install. That would limit some areas, so we didn't have to look at all 65,000 customers. But even if we have to look at 30,000 of them, what we end up having to do is dig down on both sides of the meter, the customer side and our side, and verify what those materials are. And we're pretty sure, like 98% sure, that we're not going to run into lead service lines. The last thing I'm going to mention here is the effects of inflation on us. When I look at this chart here, the thing that jumps out at me is chlorine has gone up 42%. Well, we use a lot of chlorine. Every drop of water that leaves our water plant is treated with chlorine. Every drop of water that leaves our wastewater plant and gets put back in the river is treated with chlorine. So this increase in cost is really affecting us like it is everyone in here. With that, I'm going to pass off to Carl Robertson, who's head of our financial group, and then he'll finish the presentation.
Thank you, Billy. As Billy said, my name is Carl Robertson, Director of Finance, Waterworks. And as he said, inflation affects us just like affected everybody else. Historically, over the past 5 years, we've run 2.3% annual O&M, operations and maintenance, increase every year. But with the inflation coming up, and you see it, the gasoline, the diesel, that's went up for us as well. What you're seeing at home is a 9% consumer price index. That's your food, clothing, going out to the movies. That's where that increase is coming from. What we're dealing with here is the 12.2% municipal cost index. That's labor, that's chemicals, that's fuel, items like that. That specifically would affect the municipality. So proper planning keeps the rates low. One thing we like to stress here is we're fiscal stewards of company funds, of public funds, excuse me. We always try to obtain competitive pricing on everything we buy. If something's complicated, we make sure we use qualified consultants to ensure accuracy and save costs. We'll seek the most cost-effective debt financing when we do have to take a loan. For example, we recently had to take a federal loan, and we got 0.13% interest on it. And we're passing those same cost savings out to the public. We drive cost efficiency through our culture, touching it every day, make sure we spend our money correctly, and to ensure the financial performance, as Billy said, we do a 5-year master plan and make sure that we can cover all of our debt obligations for that time. So how are the funds distributed? Well, 49% go into operating expenses. That's your fuel, your labor, your chemicals, your everyday items. 36% capital and debt. Infrastructure, the debt payments that we have to make to pay off the loans, and then our rolling stock fleet, the vehicles you see running down the street with Columbus Water Works stickers on it, that's where that part comes out. And then debt coverage, financial policies, it's top 15% there. Just like you at home have a debt-to-income ratio that you have to maintain in order to keep your credit score, we also have a credit score bond rating, and we have to maintain that debt-to-income ratio too. So that's where that comes in. All right, it's a pretty neat chart. When you're looking at industry-wide, across the United States, your average water bill is going to be $67.44. Zooming in, the Southeast states, $66.54 is what you're going to see. Okay? When we look at Georgia specifically, the average water bill is $62.49. And then finally, Columbus Water Works current, $46.67. So we really try to keep that price low and pass it up. The average Columbus Water Works customer pays $15 to $20 less than the industry standard. Additionally, so over the past 10 years, across the industry, you can see a 5.25% annual rate increase. While here at Columbus Water Works, we kept it on average 3.9%. Finally, one of the things we're really proud of, each gallon of water comes out of your tap is roughly 1 cent per gallon. Alright, so what's the real cost of this increase? Your bottom line is important to us. So the majority of our customers will see less than a $2.12 increase per month. And 80%, more than 80% will see less than a $3.14%. And that's including water, sewer, and CSO. We're looking at our regional city partners. Columbus Water Works is proud that we are well below the $66.54 regional benchmark set at $44.53. Additionally, we offer a low-income credit program to our customers, and if they qualify, that puts them at $36.03. Last thing I want to say about this slide is these numbers are reflective of our upcoming rate, the 2023 rate, while these other cities, this is still their 2022 rate. They're likely going to have rate increases this year, and that'll push them all past us. Finally, Columbus Water Works offers 2 assistance programs if you have a hard time paying this. Right? First one is the Federal Low Income Household Water Assistance Program, commonly known as LIHWA. It's up to $500. We also offer a low income credit program at $8.50 a month. If you're interested in either one of those programs, go to our website and it'll direct you on how to get the forms completed. Okay, wrapping it up, we're proposing a 4.95% rate increase, which is going to take effect January 1st. Increase is going to add approximately $2.31 to most customers' monthly bill, and less than $3.14 to 8% of customers. Finally, if you need assistance on your bill, reach out to our website and we can put you in the right direction. Now, as we take this time to open up for questions, raise your hand and we'll come to you. Yes, ma'am.
So I have a question not pertaining to specifically what was discussed,
Okay.
but I work for Turner Realty Company and the associate broker. We probably have 30 or 40 open accounts, and right now the bills are not getting to us. And since the website's changed, I can't print the bills off the website anymore. So I'm hoping that I can get back to where if I'm missing a bill, I can print it myself.
Okay, yes.
I don't know that I've got the answer to that, but I will say that we had a problem with one of our vendors in getting the bills out. Probably a month or so ago, a couple of months ago. And we actually terminated our agreement with them and hired a new vendor. And if you can contact, Caleb can give you a card back here, you contact him.
Okay.
And we can actually track, we couldn't before, but now we can actually track the mail through the process. So we can actually tell you where it is.
Okay, that would be super, I really appreciate that.
I know for my house in particular, I received my bill, and then I received my bill at home in the mailbox, and went looking that day it showed that it's scanned.
Yeah, the problem is just when they get lost, and I know everybody's short-staffed and the mail's having a problem, there's no way for me to copy the bill. And when I'm paying my bills, I'm paying out of trust account, so I have to have a paper copy.
Absolutely.
And then the other thing while we're on it, and I may, if you want to talk to me later about this, I'd be happy to stay after. I used to be able to pay online with a bank account, routing number, account number. I can't do that anymore, and I can't have a debit card on a trust account either. So I'm having to mail checks, wait for them to get there, wait for them to get processed. I just had 3 lost last month, so, it wouldn't turn on any more accounts for me. So, just issues like that, if we can, and I don't even have a contact, I call them and hold for a very long time, and then I'm not getting resolution.
Give you Caleb's card, he'll definitely be.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Appreciate your question.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have a question in reference to water pressure. And we bought a new house off of Far Road on Wandering Lane. It's all the way up in the cul-de-sac. And so I talked to the builder about the water pressure, because the shower water, it's okay, but it's not like the house that we used to live in over on Mill Branch. So he said that had something to do with the Columbus Water, that I had to talk to the water folks about that. So is that something that
We can look at.
you look at?
Yes, you need to get his card also. And then what we'll do is, the way water pressure works is we have tanks in the system. Okay, and the highest level of those tanks, it gives you water pressure throughout the city. But if you happen to live on Mill Branch, for instance, Mill Branch is down, it's Mill Branch because it's next to Mill Branch Creek. And so it's actually a lower, so you can have a higher head on the Far Road, you're a little bit higher head, but we can look at it and see if there's anything else going on in that area.
Because I only there's several other new builds that are there, and they're same issue.
So sometimes there are also pressure reducing valves in most houses, and that could be an issue. I think you were talking about your house had a pressure reducing valve issue recently. But Caleb can help you with that because he looks at those individual things. So. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Who else has a question?
Well, if we don't have any more questions, I guess that does it for us.
I got one more.
Oh, yes, sir. That's fine. That's fine.
Given the current climate as relates to sustainability and with the push for, elimination of fossil fuels and going to electric business, how is that affecting I hear about the FedEx and some of they're going to EV vehicles and that kind of thing. So I didn't know how that affected your guys' business.
Well, let me, before you go, say something on this. Some things we did in the past, just to let you know. We actually, years ago, tried to buy an electric vehicle just to see how it would operate in our system. Wasn't successful, because I can't remember there was some issues with the dealership or something. They struggled with it. So we're constantly looking at different things. I can't say, we have to make sure whatever we do will work in our system, like you rightly said. Now I'll let you say.
Yeah, so I was outside of vehicles. We try to do more with less on everything. With computers, automation, getting more work done with less resources, less labor. So it's something we're daily considering, thinking about. Routing, the meter readers in a more economical route. So it's definitely being looked at all the time.
We have to always plan ahead, and whether we're talking about our infrastructure or how we operate. And one of the things that we are seeing generally is there's talk that New York State and California may outlaw at some point internal combustion engines. So the way we think about that is if that was to happen, it's very likely that that would happen across the country. Not necessarily because any place else would want to do it, but there's so many people that live in those locations. If Ford can't sell cars in California, that's going to hit their business really hard. Chevrolet or whoever it is. So they may only start making electric vehicles. But there's also a push out there for hydrogen vehicles, which actually run closer to a internal combustion engine. It is an internal combustion engine. It just runs off a different fuel. And it actually fits the mode of how our system operates with gas stations and things like that.
Yeah, on that California thing, that's 2035 is when they're eliminating combustion engines.
So we have to do something about that.
I just don't know if I'll be around by then.
Thank you for the question.
Anybody else? All right.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, we really thank everybody for coming out. If you have any questions you want to ask about, go ahead and touch the phone. Thank you.
And Caleb, make sure you give these